Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Puwadi. Later in the show, I'll chat with Don Manuelito, founder and CEO of Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems, LLC. The Phoenix Indian Center's Two-Spirit Powwow will be held on Saturday, February 17th at the South Mountain Community College in Phoenix. In the studio to tell us more about it is Ethan Tsosie and Navi Ho. Hello, welcome to our show, you guys.
Hello.
Hi.
And before we get started, can you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves, your journey, and your background?
Sure. So my name's Ethan Tsosie. I'm Navajo, originally from Tuba City, Arizona. I work at the Phoenix Indian Center as a prevention specialist. So what I do is teach curriculum, workshops to help community members learn about prevention and substance abuse prevention and suicide prevention. And this year I'll be co-leading Arizona Two-Spirit Powwow.
That's awesome. It's great to have you here, Ethan.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Navi Ho. Yat Shik Dorshide Navi Ho and She. Sana my desh Gishni. Hello, everybody. My name is Navi Ho. You all might know me. I'm very well known here in Phoenix and probably surrounding areas. I am a drag performer, Two-Spirit drag performer here in Phoenix. I've been here all my life, pretty much, for many, many years. You guys don't need to know that age. But I started my drag persona back in 2010 and been an advocate for HIV and AIDS, also for the Two-Spirit community and also the LGBTQIA community here in Arizona.
Oh, wow. It is so amazing to have you both here to tell us more about this upcoming powwow and this great event. To start off, can you guys tell us about the upcoming Two-Spirit Powwow?
Yes, the Two-Spirit Powwow will be happening on February 17th at South Mountain Community College. It's going to be on the South Lawn. Basically, if you get there, just listen for the drum and let the drum follow you to the spot. We are going to have different nonprofit organizations, also vendor merchandise, and also other fun, exciting giveaways and things like that are going to happen. Plus, of course, the powwow dancing. Traditional, beautiful, amazing regalia. So yeah, just come on out.
Oh, wow. And tell us a little bit about the history. How and why did the Two-Spirit Powwow begin?
Well, the Two-Spirit Powwow began with the founder of Native PFLAG that was here in Phoenix, Sheila Lopez, decided to create the first Two-Spirit Powwow because we never had one here in Arizona. And she was able to get a grant from the Phoenix Pride organization and was able to start the first Two-Spirit Powwow 4 years ago, just because this is the fourth annual, and wanted to create a safe space for individuals that take on the term Two-Spirit or part of the LGBTQIA community, and wanted to make a safe space because that's what social powwows are about. You know, powwows are about community and gathering together as we all do as Native people, and that's kind of what it was started as.
Mm-hmm. And what do you hope attendees would learn about the event?
I hope that attendees will learn not only what a Two-Spirit person is, what the acronym means, and what it because it's a very new term, but however, we've been here in our communities forever. We just never really had a term unless in your own tribe had a name for a Two-Spirit LGBT person. So you get to learn that. You get to learn the dances for people that don't know. And with our dances and the categories, there's no gender. So in normal powwows that you would go to, you would have a male, female head dancer. We just call them head dancers. Oh. And the categories, there's not women, there's not men. It's whatever the category is, jingle dress, fancy shawl dance, and, things like that. So we take the gender out so that way people can be comfortable with themselves.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. So is this powwow open to everyone?
Yes, of course. We welcome all community members to every event that we hold within Phoenix. Two-Spirit Powwow is just one of those events that's a reminder to us that Two-Spirit individuals hold our sacred and traditional roles in tribes that have been long forgotten through colonization and all of that. So yes, we welcome everybody to come educate themselves, even to have some fun fry bread with us.
And nobody can deny fry bread, so we are definitely there. Do you have any new activities this year?
In addition to the Two-Spirit Powwow, we are actually hosting a Two-Spirit drag show that will be happening on February 18th at 3 p.m. at Boycott here in Phoenix, Arizona. Boycott is 4301 North 7th Avenue. And it will be hosted by the Excuse Our Beauty review troupe here, which is all indigenous drag performers. And we are inviting all of our Two-Spirit people that are coming that do perform drag, whether it's poetry, any kind of medium, really, and to come and share their stories. And yeah, so that will be at Boycott on February 18th at 3 p.m.
So we do have the Phoenix Indian Center fashion show coming up. We are doing a call out for artists or any fashion designers that are willing to design. You can check that out at Phoenix Indian Center on Instagram. It's PHXIND Center. And yeah, so far after the Two-Spirit Powwow, then we'll be working on a little project as well called the Rainbow Gathering. Mm-hmm. And the Rainbow Gathering is something that was put on through one of our other co-chair, Trudy Jackson, who's been a long advocate here in Arizona for Two-Spirit individuals. Mm-hmm. And it's essentially like a mini summit conference that helps promote the wellness and wellness, sobriety, and any other topics, issues that are identified within Two-Spirit community that they want to share in that space.
Oh, okay. Do either one of you have a favorite part of the powwow?
My favorite part of the powwow is the grand entry, mm-hmm. because you get to see everybody come out. You get to see all the beautiful regalia, all the beautiful dances, the flags, having everybody that can carry a flag, and seeing all 22 federalized tribes being represented mm-hmm. there, and seeing just the diversity of people, and seeing how open they are to the community, and how they are willing to learn and understand, because we are part of this community. We are here, mm-hmm. and as a native person, or just native in general, mm-hmm. we live within our communities, and we strive to help each other. So by doing that, I see that the Two-Spirit community is the final piece to make the sacred circle again. That's what I've been taught.
What drives and motivates you to organize this powwow?
For me, it would be just a constant reminder that Two-Spirit individuals hold traditional roles mm-hmm. within tribes, and that has been long forgotten in some way. We used to acknowledge all our relatives and love every one of each other. And with Two-Spirit individuals, they have those traditional roles that we've just forgotten. So I think putting it on makes me feel more powerful to have that space for them.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Two-Spirit people have been known to be shamans, matchmakers. They were the ones that took over the rules in case that that gender was not there to do it. So, and they were there to help everybody. And they, like I said, they were the main one that people would go to if they had any issues or any healing things that needed to be done. Two-Spirit people are held in high regards within the community. And I think that's the teaching that has been lost due to colonization. And I think that's things that we want to teach and let people know that, we were in the community. We are still in the community.
And are there other Two-Spirit powwows in other parts of the country, do you know?
Yes, actually, there are. Next weekend, I will be attending the Bates Two-Spirit Powwow in San Francisco. Bates is the Bay Area Society, and they do a huge powwow, and I believe they've been doing it for a few years now. But it is a big powwow. Many people travel over to San Francisco and attend this beautiful powwow. It's a very big powwow. I got to attend it last year, and this year, as Miss Montana Two-Spirit, I'm able to attend again and be a part of it. But there are other Two-Spirit powwows all over the Turtle Island.
And is the term Two-Spirit recognized in other tribes?
Yes, it's actually recognized in many different tribes on Turtle Island. Many tribes embrace the term Two-Spirit. Also, Two-Spirit is held within other countries and other nations. They have in Mexico. They have their Two-Spirit person, and it resonates all over the world. And that's what I'm finding through the teachings and the learnings through the elders and other individuals, like going up to Montana Two-Spirit Society's gathering that happens every August. And it's a very interesting and amazing journey that I've been on.
Oh, wow, that's so amazing. I'm so excited about this powwow for everyone to kind of get involved and also learn all of that knowledge, as you mentioned. Do either one of you have a favorite moment of any of the previous Two-Spirit powwows?
I think so, yeah. So when our 4th annual Two-Spirit powwow that's coming up, it's not consecutive. We did have one year where we weren't able to put on a powwow because of COVID. And we came back last year in 2023. And we saw a large number of people come out. People were ready to come celebrate and come to this powwow. So that was really a highlight for me, seeing that people were ready for Two-Spirit powwow in the Phoenix area.
And I just think the amazing thing is, as it's every year, this is being the 4th, the first one, we were very unsure on how the powwow is going to be accepted within not only the powwow circle, but also through our community here. With a lot of things that are going on in the world through politics and different things like that, we weren't sure how we were going to be represented or even welcome. And come to find out that we were welcome. We were welcome with open arms. We were encouraged to continue to do the powwow. This being the 4th one, there was people asking last year right after the powwow, when's the next one? When are you guys going to do this again? And just to see the support, the outpouring of love from the community, not only here in Phoenix, but around Turtle Island, I think that was a beautiful thing. So that would be my moment.
Can you remind us again when the Two-Spirit powwow is going to be here?
Oh, actually, it'll be at South Mountain Community College on the South Lawn, February 17th on Saturday. Starting, we're going to start our art market at 10 a.m. and grand entry will start at 12.
Awesome. And how can our listeners find more information about the Two-Spirit powwow, and how can they contact you, or who can they contact if they have further questions?
Yeah, sure. You can follow Phoenix Indian Center on any of our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram. You can find us at PHXIND Center. And that's our handle.
Perfect. Well, I would like to thank you both for coming in today to tell us about the Two-Spirit powwow. It sounds like it is going to be an amazing event with a lot of resources.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Coming up, I'll chat with Don Manuelito, founder and CEO of Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems, LLC. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-52 888-878-6262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org. Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Puwadi. Don Manuelito is the founder and CEO of Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems, LLC, focused on total wellness and balance with embracing identity, self-worth, and culture, located in Phoenix. Hello, Don, and welcome to our show.
Hello, how are you today, Lanasha?
I'm doing
Thank you
great.
for having me. Yes, it's I'm nervous, so it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. She'e da Manuelito Ninishia. I am half San Carlos Apache, half Dene, Yat Ea Bene to everyone out there. And also, Don Manuelito Gonce. I am Gaiwatele from the Fort Defiance, Arizona. That's where I was born and raised on Dene Nation. And also had the privilege of being raised on my San Carlos Apache side on the San Carlos Reservation too. So I feel that's a little bit unique for some of us because I got to be raised on both sides and be introduced to grow up with our both cultures, my Dene side and my Apache side, which is Ine. And so growing up, I've always cultivated my culture, my teachings and traditions. And I was fortunate to have my grandparents that taught me a lot of our culture and stuff. So that's a little bit about who I am and where I come from. And let me introduce my clans as well. Gaiwatele I'm from the Willow Clan, Wide Leaf Willow Clan of the San Carlos Apache tribe, and I was born for the Tohono Water Clan of the Dene Nation.
Oh, wow. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here, Dawn, and thank you so much for coming in today. I'm so excited to kind of dive into your business and learning more about that. But to start off, can you tell us an overview of Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems and what you do?
Okay. Well, let me take you on some history of Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems. It's in March 19th. It'll be a 5-year-old business. I established on March 19th in 2019, just before COVID, which we didn't know was going to happen. But the history comes from my culture. I am 6th generation to Chief Manuelito of the Dene Nation, and my grandfather is also one of the original 29 code talkers of the Navajo code talkers. And so with that culture and that lineage and that upbringing, and my mother on my San Carlos Apache side, we come from big families on the Apache side as well. So that is really what Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems is cultivated from and I brought it together. And about in 2010, 2011, I was going through my journey of transitioning from, the casino industry into more, okay, what am I going to do next? I wanted more out of life and more out of, serving our people. But when I looked around at things, I looked around at a lot of the health issues that we faced as Native Indigenous communities, especially at, in the times we get together at like funerals, And what are those from? Now they're from health risks, health issues, health disease, type 2 diabetes, coronary heart diseases, cancers out there, and they're all diverse types of these different categories, right? And so as I looked around and looked at our people, I was like, we need to find something that we can help. We live in a system of dependency on government dependency. And as I was looking at this, I went back to school. Mm-hmm. But in the transition of going back to school, I really didn't want to go back to school, but I did. I was like, okay, I will. And I was diagnosed in 2012 with cancer. And so I really had to take a look at myself too. And in 2013 went through some surgery and treatment, and really took a look at, okay, it has to start with me first and myself, and reclaiming my wellness and being responsible for my own well-being. And how can I do that and then also help others? So as I was going through this journey of wellness, I was thinking, well, what is it that I want to do next? So I went back to school. I started at Chandler Gilbert Community College with some courses. I decided to get my associate's degree. And as the overachiever that I am, I decided to get 2 associates at the same time, my general studies and then the other one in applied science. Okay. So I chose strength, nutrition, and healthy living and exercise. So that was my certification from them, and through the ACSM program, which is American College of Sports Medicine as well. And so I graduated top honors at the college there. Went back to work right after that, after graduation, right into the field of our communities, worked with SDPI program. And it was on that journey when I came to the realization that we needed more. I needed to do more. And that's when I came up with the vision and the dream of having a wellness company that could help in all the aspects of culture, tradition, and I teach from the 6 pillars of wellness, and we'll go through that later. But that was really the development and the idea, and how do we bring that together? And so that's why I developed Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. An amazing story. Thank you for sharing your personal story with that, Dawn. Kind of what inspired you to start your business and kind of jump into the field of fitness and wellness. But I know you mentioned the wellness wheel. Can you tell us more about your wellness wheel?
Yes, I chose 6 pillars of wellness that I believe in our Native Indigenous communities are very, well, they're not only important and to myself, but I feel like that's our foundation as Native Indigenous communities, which is the spiritual aspect, the mental, and the emotional, which are all, they're not tangible. I can't see your thoughts. I can't see your emotions unless you react to them or unless you tell me your thoughts. And I can't see your spirituality. That's your own faith. But those are the parts of us that are very personal and intimate. And so I teach from that. And then also the physical, the nutritional, and the financial aspects. And in our Dene culture, it's about hojo, keeping our wellness, right? Walking in beauty and keeping that balance in our life. And how does that system work for us in today's society, in this Western colonized world of thinking and the expectations that we have. So that's why I teach from that wellness wheel.
Yeah, and why do you think it is important to be balanced through spiritual, mental health, emotional health, physical, nutritional, financial, and cultural?
It's very important because without one, the others take a toll, right? So I always relate this to like cars, right? We have the car system, and a car has 4 wheels. If you have a blowout on one of them, can the car still drive?
No.
It can, but you're going to have problems, right? Exactly. And so that's the same thing with our wellness wheel. If we pay too much attention on one, the others take a toll and we're off balance. And it's very important as Native Indigenous communities to make sure we stay intact with our culture and understanding, of who we are. And I was raised that way. I was raised and taught that never to forget who we are and where we come from in our bloodline. As a 6th generation to Chief Manuelito, his motto as, go and climb the ladder of education despite what the white man did to us, meaning that we never forget who we are and where we come from and the roots, and especially Mother Earth and where we come from, and Creator and Father Sky. We don't forget these things of our person and our being and our spirit, but that we evolve into this world with the education and knowledge as well.
Oh, yes.
So that's why I think it's very important to bring those all together.
Oh, yes, definitely. And I know one unique aspect compared to kind of other wellness or fitness companies is you also incorporate your indigenous heritage. Can you tell us more about how you kind of incorporate that in there?
Well, I teach the herbs, the plants, the medicines. I was always raised from my upbringing to go harvest and pick and gather and plant as well. And then the men in our family would also go hunting, and how does that incorporate into our digestive system? Because that's really my area of passion is gut health, and incorporating, when we look at our ancestors and we see what they've done and how they used to live, their foods, their cultural foods from the land was what gave them strength. And it was their spiritual connection to that as well. So, I feel like nowadays, we go through drive-through. Are we, are we taking out our pollen and blessing it? Are we giving any offerings? And we don't. We've just gotten so consumed in the let's hurry up and go, So really going back and connecting our culture in these areas, and then also teaching from our historical food trauma and food systems. And we transitioned from living off the land to living so far away from it, apart from it, so it's really integrating that relationship with our culture and teachings and upbringing, and being reminded we still have our plants, our medicine, and that's available to us.
Yes, that's definitely true. And what advice do you have for someone just starting their health and fitness journey?
Well, I would say a lot of people, and I'll just use this as a general example. I see it out there in the fitness world and the health world. Everyone wants to go on a diet, right? We need to, I feel like just be mindful and everybody is unique. There's not a one-size-fits-all diet plan. We're all uniquely different. We all have different, lifestyles. We all have a different mental state. So it's really remembering that you're a unique person. Find what works for you, not what works for everybody, right? And I feel like that starts in the mindset. It's all about our mindset. And why are we set out to work on our fitness journey, right? What is it that we want to accomplish? And really, I go back and it's not just my advice would be sit down and really take a self-assessment. Is it because the doctor told you your A1C is high and you have to change, and then they tell you all this stuff and it's like, well, wait a minute. Just take a step back, breathe, and give yourself an assessment, Let's see what do I like to do? Like, what if we don't like to run, but we're told we got to go do that, right? Everyone wants to go run. What if we don't like to, right? What if I have to eat spinach, but I don't like to eat spinach?
Yes.
Find the things that make you at peace and happy with what it is that are good, that are healthy. So I guess my advice is just your mindset and taking a self-assessment and awareness of what is it that you want to accomplish.
And I know, kind of going back to your pillars, somebody who is starting out on their fitness journey, how do they know they are kind of well balanced and kind of not putting too much in one area, so that way they don't get, as we mentioned, the little car on the tires? Like, how do we know we are maintaining everything? Yes.
That all our PSIs are equal?
Yes.
Well, I would say that, just again, spiritually, ask yourself, what's my relationship spiritually? And I talk about relationships a lot because what's my relationship with myself? Mentally, where am I at? What's my relationship mentally? What's my relationship with my emotions? What is my relationship with my physical being? What is my relationship with my food, nutritionally? And what is my relationship with finances, money? And it's really, and I do that often, even myself, is learning along this journey is I have to take these little reassessments. It's like, it really is like taking your car in to get the whole service maintenance done, right? Because we have check engine lights, right? How many times do we drive around with a check engine light? Come on, we all have that Indian car, right? This is the traditional Indian car here. Like we have high blood pressure, high glucose, stress. People, we operate in such a high stressful state at all times that fight syndrome is not turned off. Endorphins, dopamines, our hormonal state is not in balance as well. So it's really taking these self-assessments in each category and saying, like, what do I need to change something? Do I need to enhance something? And I always say, look at the positive things first. Because a lot of times we go into these negative statements and go, spiritually, I don't believe in anything, but really, we kind of do. Yeah. Right? Mentally, what are we thinking? What are our thoughts? And emotionally, am I emotionally connected? A lot of times we're not. We're used to stuffing it away. Don't cry. You don't show your emotions. Be strong. And really, we need to really go back to our being. We're humans. We're built with this stuff. So I would say just taking an assessment, a self-assessment, and, going 1 to 10. What is your 1 to 10? What is my 1 to 10? Are two different levels, right? So it's really it's a self-assessment.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know there was so many aspects that kind of went into well-being. It's really the whole body, from your mind to physical activity. But kind of talking about physical activity, how can people keep moving on their fitness journey?
Okay, so again, it's starting where you're at, not where you want to be, because I do that all the time. It's starting right where you're at. What can you do, and working your way up. And I would always say, if you want to get moving, start small. What can you do? You can't go out and run like 5 miles. I know at my peakest at one time in 2019, I went out I had been slacking on some exercise, right? And I was slacking. And I know this. I've been to school. I graduated. And I also went back to ASU and graduated with them. Tell you about that in a minute. But I was like, okay, I teach this stuff. I'm a fitness coach. I'm a wellness coach. All this stuff, right? I went to go run my 3 miles. I got a quarter mile down the way. And I was like, what is going on? Like, what happened? And crazy thing is like I went out, I was like, okay, I'll walk the mile, came back, and I was like, I couldn't even jog, and I looked, and then the next day I got back on the scale, and I was like at my heaviest. I was 159.8, and I am I'm not that tall, I'm not that big person. I was like, what? And like I was carrying more weight than I was when I was full-term pregnancy in my first child. Which I was like, this is crazy, So I went ahead and did my self-assessment, right? Why can't I run? And what can I do? So it's about taking that self-assessment, and that was a part of me, was really that place where I can fall into those spaces too. When we're trying to take care of others, we need to remember we can't take care of others unless we take care of ourselves first. Right? So it was that example that, oh goodness, like start where you're at. I was trying to start where I left off, not where I was at. And so start right where you're at. Walking's a great one as long as you're moving, especially in sedentary places where we're sitting at desks 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, then get in the car and drive an hour or two home again. And, and we're not eating the best of foods as well. A lot of processed foods. So starting where you're at. If it's just, if you're in your office, just get up and do a couple of chair squats, meaning stand up, sit down from your chair. Do some high steps, just right where you're at. Get the flow, get the blood flowing. Circulation is key. And always make sure you're staying hydrated,
Oh, yes, definitely. And also, as you mentioned, kind of having the right mindset. And I liked how at the very beginning you kind of talked about how you were like running out of breath when you were running 3 miles and you didn't like running. So how did you, tell us about the story of how you got into the Marine Corps marathon?
Okay. Well, again, I remember running like cross country, and I never really, I just did it because it was something to do, right? We get into these spaces when we're growing up on the reservation, and I didn't learn this till later. But, I was a part of, I always wanted to be a part of the was competitive, and we were always a part of sports, and that was the other thing to do. So, but as my older years, I always just kind of maybe 3 miles, maybe 5 miles, but never seen myself running like 26.2. Like, that's crazy. That's for crazy people. Friend of mine, she wanted to train for a half marathon. So I was like, okay, we could do that. We trained in October, got to May. That was a disaster because we went to, this was in 2015 or something. We ended up in Grand Canyon. It was a half marathon, trained down here, but went there and it was a trail. So I had the wrong shoes, ran the half marathon anyway through sunshine, snow, rain, all of it. And ended up, injuring myself, pulling my IT band. But it was something I did. I was like, I'm not doing that again, right? Oh. But then I always had on my bucket list, before I turned 50, I want to run a marathon. And I was like, okay, I'm getting close. Like, what's going on? So in 2022, I went to the Lori Payestoa Memorial. And there I met Lisa Hallett and Melinda Weaver, and they are the founders of Wear Blue, Run to Remember for Fallen Heroes. And they always do a challenge in support of Lori Payestoa and the family. And so while I was there, I was speaking to one of them, and I was like, yeah, one day I want to run a marathon. And they're like, oh, let's make that a reality. I was like, like, okay, kind of. And then they were like, yeah. And then I had told them about my grandfather being a Navajo code talker. And they're like, that would be great. You should run the Marine Corps Marathon. They made it sound really great, I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, when is it? And that was in March of 2022. They're like, oh, it's in October. I'm all, this October? Like, no. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess, and I'm always about really supporting our lineage and our culture and our history, right? And, being my grandfather, I was like, why not? And so I was like, okay, and I gave it, that was in March, and I was like, gave him time. I was like, oh, I haven't received any emails. We exchanged contact information. I was like, oh, I haven't received any emails. Maybe they forgot, Then I get the email in April. And then I was like, okay, kind of contemplating, because I'm the type, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. We were, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, and my sister was going to do it with me. But then she's like, no, I don't think I can. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to. Started to become closer to May. And then they were like, now the reminders, Dawn, we haven't heard from you. Did you get the link? And I'm like, halfway through this submission registration. So I did. I submitted it. Push submit, and I was like, okay, here we go. And from there, it was training to the Marine Corps Marathon. It was 22 weeks of training, starting right where I was at, building up to running, 26.2 miles. And as we were talking earlier with Javier, he, what happens at the end of the 26, the Greek story, how it became 26.2, right? And, no, I'm still here. I felt like I wanted to die, but it was the most amazing journey in that I had to apply, I chose to apply our heritage, our ancestors of what they went through on our long walks, whether it was the Apache or the Diné nations. And then as it grew, it became more apparent, like there's more code talkers out there, not just Navajo. There's the Hopi, there's, the Lakotas. There are all these different code talkers out there that contributed to this World War II. And I was like, if I can run this for those that can't, then I want to do that. For those that did run for us, that walked for us to be here today in remembrance, in honor of that, then that's what I'm going to do it for. And that's really what got me through not worrying about the miles or how, and after a while it wasn't even painful. It wasn't even, it was fun. But down here training in 100-degree weather, oh my gosh, we were up at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, because if you got out there any later than 5, forget it. It was tough. It was a good advantage though, because when you go, it's run in Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay.
So you run from the Marine Corps Memorial through DC, Georgetown, all over, so you go over different states and stuff, Virginia, DC, and then Maryland area. So we did all that. And it was just amazing and an amazing journey. So I have to say, and you run 380 something miles before you even run 26.2. So, we did it again last year, and we're going to do it again this year.
Oh, wow. That's so amazing. I love how you incorporate your history, kind of thinking it upon that journey. But talking about your culture, how has your culture identity shaped who you are today? And how has it impacted your career journey this far?
It has been everything to my career, to my journey. It's impacted me in ways that I didn't know. Again, you just heard the Marine Corps Marathon journey, parts of it. But it's impacted me in that this is the very essence as to why I want to help our people, our Native Indigenous people, is because they made that sacrifice for us. They made that long journey for us to be here today. And how can we honor them in living a healthier way, living in a lifestyle of goodness, right? And positivity, whether it's spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, nutritionally, and financially. How do we live that way? So when I went back to school, at ASU, it impacted me greatly because I was told by an insurance company, that I didn't have the credentials to teach health and wellness to my own people. After I had already graduated from Chandler Gilbert Community College, it wasn't good enough, basically. And I was like, no one is ever going to tell me that again, because my people, we've been here. Our remedies, our medicines were here way before Western medicine came. And now we're starting to go back to those holistic ways in the teachings, And I've always been in that space. I grew up with ceremony, grandparents, and my family on both sides of my lineage and tribal affiliations. I've grown up with both of them. And so that is what molded me into being who I am today, and that strength and that resilience, but also having that honor and values of their culture and of our culture and our teachings, right? And just really being that person for our people. I am not perfect. There is no way, but it is all about learning from those teachings and those mistakes and experiences in life that I bring forward and go, okay, I am this Native Indigenous woman. And I just want others to know that they can do the same thing too, to inspire others, to hopefully help others, hey, if they needed to incorporate some healthy nutrition, they can, and it's not, do they have to give up their fry bread all 100%? No, but just educating on the damage that it does, not just fry bread, like processed foods, fast foods, can we still have it? Yeah, but does it mean that, there's some things we do have to change. And I feel like it's through the education first. And again, that goes back to 6th generation and Chief Manuelito, his message, go and climb the ladder of education and come and bring it back to our people. So that's what I'm fulfilling that purpose for.
Wow, it's amazing. And I love how you kind of told your story about how you're continuing that journey right now, as you mentioned. So what do you consider to be one of your biggest accomplishments?
Well, I have one on the way. Actually, I just got news this morning. So I'll be unveiling that soon here. One of my biggest accomplishments, I believe, is just, again, honoring our ancestors in a way of living our lives in a healthier way. And not always made those choices, but I did. And when I was at the Marine Corps Marathon, they did ask that I be a part of laying of the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which at that point I had never heard of a Native American woman being able to do that representation for our people. And so I was able to do that. And that was a high honor to represent that at that level, in not just military, government, but to really say we are still here and we're still present and we're still representing our people
Thank you for sharing that. And what advice would you give to someone who wants to start improving their health?
I would say, again, let's start with the reassessment of these 6 pillars and where we're at, and which one do we really need to start in first. You know, we can go out and get moving all day long and start running and walking, but unless we address the others, we might be running or walking from something else. You know, so it's really, I started my road of recovery and self-care in about 2010, 2011. And so the history of our trauma, of our people and generational trauma has an impact on the decisions we make today. And so when we look at, okay, we want to get fit, we want to get back into exercise, it's really just taking that self-assessment and going, okay, where do I need to work on some things first? Doesn't mean that you can't work on them. Doesn't mean that you can't get started. You can start walking and get going and start maybe implementing some nutrition. That's where I would say the biggest impact would be the nutrition aspect. You know, mindset first and then the nutrition aspect before the exercise. Because it's like nutrition, mindset, nutrition, exercise, recovery, and then rest, which is kind of incorporated with recovery. So all of that, you know, is kind of the protocol, I would say, is like mindset first, then nutrition, and then, you know, let's get moving, put movement in there. Because there's a saying out there in the fitness world, you can't outrun or out workout or out exercise a bad diet. They have to go cohesively together. And that's why I chose at ASU an interdisciplinary program degree, is because I took the best of both worlds. I took kinesiology, exercise, wellness, and then I took medical dietetics from the dietetics, and I put them together for healthy living and nutrition. And that's the degree I have, because one doesn't work without the other. I mean, efficiently. You can, you know, you have to have both of them together to work.
Oh, yes.
To have optimal fitness, at least.
And finally, how can our listeners find more information about Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems, and how can they contact you if they have further questions?
Okay. So on my website, which is www.donmanuelito.com is my website, and there it'll say contact us, and it'll send a direct email to me. On that site is my Linktree account, which shares all of my social media platforms where you can find me. I have a podcast, I have my website, I have LinkedIn, I have my Facebook page, Manuelito Health and Wellness Systems Facebook page, and then I have my Instagram page, and then I have WordPress and blogs out there as well. And those are the areas that you can find me, follow me, get tips. And like I said, I've got a
little surprise.
Coming out. And I just got the last bit of information today. So I will have to say it has to do with gut health. And for the first time, you know, being the only Native woman-owned, 100% Native woman-owned health and wellness company, you know, in the nation. So we've got some big things going on, happening within the next 7 days, literally. And today's February, 6th, 7th, 10th? 6th. I don't even know what day it is, but yes. And I would say, you know, as far as like going back to what you were saying, as far as one of my biggest accomplishments in my journey is being a mom.
Oh, yes.
I have 3 beautiful, beautiful young men in my life that I've watched them grow. And to see them embrace their culture and identity, that's my biggest accomplishment.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Dawn. And I really appreciate you coming in today to tell us about your amazing journey and all of the great work that you are continually to bringing to the community as well.
Thank you. You know, I'm going to be having some more workshops. I do public speaking engagements, conferences, and stuff like that as well. So, you know, just kind of stay tuned where I'm going, and you know, or you know where I'll be at with those workshops and stuff, because I teach healthy living from the inside out, understanding fuel for the body. So it's all about the gut health before anything. Before, you know, I teach somebody going running, let's see what's going on inside, because that's really where the motor, the engine, we got to take care of that first, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. And we can definitely find out all that information on your website, because I remember seeing that in there as well, your workshops, and also continually to follow your social media, so that way we can stay up to date on the exciting news coming up.
Absolutely. I have Mindset Mondays on my socials, Mindset Mondays, Warrior Wellness Wednesdays, and What the Flex Fridays.
Oh.
Oh, and I have TikTok too, so.
Oh, that's awesome. We will definitely follow you. Again, thank you, Dawn, for coming in today and sharing your amazing knowledge on your wellness business as well.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, supported by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. Audio editing by Javier Quiroga, and the executive producer is Susan Levy. And I'm host Lanasha Puwadi. We hope you tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please email us at nativetalkaz@radiophoenix.org.